Revelations first in tonight. Hey, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, and we're getting ready to fire up this week's episode of Coast to Coast. Great show lined up. Walter Benarski, snow here. Yeah, everybody has snow. Everybody. Make sure you throw up your hometown where you're watching from. We'll give you a little shout out. And don't forget to hit the like and share button so we can get this thing out everywhere. Stick around, just 3.5 minutes. We're going live and we're going coast to coast. Good to see you here, Joe. John Gilmore, chase number 22 in the house. Boulder Toro giving away the secret. He knows who's on tonight. Rob Nussbaum can't hear me too well. How about now? Ass Prod in the house. Keeping an eye on us, making sure we're doing a good show out here. Dennis Frame, Long Island, New York. Right on. Rob Lations coming in from the great Northeast, where I'm sure it's cold as hell. Justin Bailey, good to see you here. Nancy Keener, checking in from Maryland, only got 5 inches. Right on. Great show lined up tonight, man. Can't wait to get started. Only 2 minutes away. Stick around, get something cold to drink, kick back, relax. Chris Simmons and Michael Lichter going coast to coast. With my last minute here, I want to remind you guys that Coast to Coast is just one of the shows we do here at Source Media. Wednesday night, we have Cannonball Chronicles. Goes live at 9 p.m. Eastern. Also at 9 p.m. on Sundays, Shop Talk. Don't miss any of it. Coming to you live every week through Cycle Source and the Chopper Town Network. Checking in from Detroit. 25 seconds left. I guess that means it's time to get this one out of the stable and up onto the racetrack. We can go live with this week's Coast to Coast. Here we go.
Hey, it's Tuesday night. Welcome to Coast, live here from Hawaii, where it's not snowing. Anyway, let's bring in Michael Lichter. I think he was out in the snow today, probably. Michael Lichter from Boulder, Colorado, my co-host. There you are.
You bet. I was playing out in the snow. I felt like one of those panda bears. Have you seen those sliding down in the snow and playing and rolling in the snow?
You didn't fall, did you?
I'm not allowed to fall.
Yeah, but you didn't fall, right? I slipped in the mud. Hey, I fell in some
Day
horse
14. 14 days. I haven't done this since I was in college. It's awesome. Loving it.
Okay. So you're skiing and you're not falling down, and I'm down there shoveling horse poo, and my dog pulls me down in the mud in the horse poo. Okay. What's wrong with this picture?
Skiing's much more fun.
Yeah, really, I'd say, yeah. Wow,
Yep.
so many people signing on here. We're getting the snow report. I'm so excited.
Yeah, 5
There's
inches
snow
from
storm.
here, 5 inches there, foot here, foot there. It's great. Everybody's
think
letting us know
Rob-
what's going on.
I think Rob was the winner. I think he said he had 30 inches. Oh my God, I remember
Wow.
that. That's a lot of
Incredible.
snow. Whew.
Yeah. Everything else good this week? I've been falling into crap.
Yeah, that's about it. Playing with my grandsons and doing stuff around the house, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hoping we can travel someday soon. We were talking about it today. Having to get out and play some music. My husband's really kind of itching to do that, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Someday. We just have to be
Right.
patient, right?
I did get to go ski with my daughter. She came with me today, Kira, which is a lot of fun. And bombed down. I have this little app. It actually tells you all the runs you did, how fast and whatnot. 44 miles an hour top speed. So I'm being careful.
That's fast. That's not fast? I would think that's pretty fast.
I'm not letting go yet. Still, I'm not allowed to fall.
Oh, that's true. So tonight we have Jody Perewitz, who we
This is cool.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe I stayed overnight at their house. I went with Dave, her dad Dave, to Laconia in 1986 or so. She was only 3 or 4 years old. I don't know when she was born, but she was just a baby. And here she is. My goodness. It's incredible.
Yeah. I think I met her when she was a teenager. And Dave and I got inducted to Hall of Fame. She was I think she was a teenager then anyway. But what an awesome person. I'm so happy I got to know her.
Yeah, one thing that's cool, and everybody will get to see this in just a moment, is that Jody has an infectious smile. And she just out there, and she just puts this great vibe out. So when you're out and about, and whether it's the Cannonball, the Chase, or the Perewitz paint show, or riding down the highway or somewhere, she's got this infectious smile, and she makes the people around her, it's like she insists you better smile too.
She's always smiling. Cool. I know, even like when it's raining and it's cold and stuff, she's always smiling.
Yeah. So on that note, we should bring her in.
Yeah, come on in.
Get everybody smiling.
Definitely.
All right.
There she is.
Hi guys.
Hey, Smiley.
Yeah.
How you doing?
So I was a little jealous of you skiing 44 miles an hour. That's pretty fast.
It was awesome. So much fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Great.
And then on the flip side of it, I was actually jealous of you shoveling manure because our manure is all frozen.
Well, we only have one horse left and she's a mini, so the poops are rather small. But
so not that much.
Yeah, my dog is going to be bigger than my horse pretty soon.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. So Jody, how's life treating you?
It's pretty good. I like you guys though, am itching to travel and go to events and get everything somewhat back to normal. But I am soaking up my time at home as well.
Also, twice a week with your own podcast with your dad, The History of Choppers.
Yeah, so we do Chopper History every Monday and Thursday at noon, which you can follow it on a Perewitz Facebook page or
noon Eastern time. Noon Eastern time, of course.
Yeah, noon my time.
I will say I was desperate. I wanted to say hi to you, and I couldn't do the comment. I was on for your show with Trask.
Oh, really? That was a good show. Nick's pretty interesting.
It was. I really wanted to comment, and I had trouble commenting. It was on my phone, so maybe that's why.
Huh. Yeah, I love to hear him talk.
Well,
and we love to hear you talk.
Okay. Where is he from? What kind of accent does he have?
Well, he says South Texas. Isn't that what he said, Jody?
Yeah. He's from New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand. Oh, yeah, they have a really cool accent.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
You know, that I found it fascinating because that gets a little technical, talking about turbos and whatnot, right? And ratios and all this stuff you got into. It's like, how knowledgeable are you about all this stuff? I mean, I know you've learned a lot.
With my race bikes, so my first race bike had a supercharger, And then my second one had a turbo. So I learned a lot about the turbo more so than the supercharger because I feel like there's more variables almost with it. Plus I was going from 230 horsepower to 320 horsepower. So
Oh my goodness.
I just
Wow.
felt like the more knowledge I can have about my motorcycle and about the mechanics and everything about it, the better the rider I can be. So I always tried to soak up as much knowledge as I can. And even just that conversation, I learned some stuff from Nick, you know, about turbos. So you never know enough. There's always more that you can learn. And that's how I look at a lot of things.
That's right. Now you're learning about old bikes too, because you started
Yeah.
riding vintage stuff, which is a whole different world. And talk about no turbo, no power.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Negative turbo.
Yeah. I say that the antique world, you know, everything that I'm in, it's all in its own bubble. You know, it's all in the motorcycle, the big bubble, but you know, land speed racing is totally its own beast. The antique world is its own beast. The custom world is its own thing. You know, they're all different, but they're all in that big bubble of motorcycling. So the more knowledge I can soak up, the more I love it.
Well, you're sure in a lot of different bubbles of the motorcycle world, more than most people. And I admire that about you. And that's why you're in the Hall of Fame, youngest person to be inducted into the Sturgis Motorcycle Hall of Fame. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
And father-daughter.
Yeah,
Right, in the Hall
my
of
dad
Fame.
and I, yep,
That's
first
pretty cool.
father-daughter duo in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, if anybody doesn't know who your dad is, I mean, your dad, you could tell him who Dave is, but Dave
my dad.
Perewitz, famous custom builder and
Cycle Fabrications, originally from Brockton, Mass, I guess. And I guess really known originally for his flame paint jobs, right, Jody?
Yeah, absolutely. The King of Flames.
King of Flames. That's right. Incredible.
He
And of
still
course,
is.
full customs, and whether now, of course, he's moved on, done baggers and land speed racers, and now working on antiques, I guess, right? So he does it all. But choppers are what they love.
Yeah, we do it all.
It's amazing.
So how many horsepower on this 1912 you're going to be running?
Oh, yeah.
So the 1912, which is a single cylinder belt driven Harley Davidson that I'm going to be riding in the Cannonball with my fingers crossed this year. It will have between 3 and 4 horsepower. So I went from 320 to 4. So
why don't you talk to Nick Trask and see what he can do for you?
Really punched that baby out.
Can he help you out on this 1912?
Yeah, so part of our conversation about turbos was he says like the average pounds of boost is about 8. And I was thinking like I have almost double that on my race bike, but we have reinforced everything. My motor was structurally built to handle that. The average motor isn't going to handle much more than 8.
Of course. You know? And then he also, I guess, was talking about balancing the thinness of the walls. That you bore it out too much and put a blower on there and bang, right?
Yeah.
So don't want to see that happen.
Getting horsepower than just adding a turbo.
Wow.
Right. Wow.
Hey, let's look at some of these pictures. We have some great pictures of Jody. I love this first one. It's from the Chase, Motorcycle Chase, 2019 Chase. Yep. And what is that bike, Jody?
So that's a 1936 VLH. Very leaky.
Yeah.
Very leaky. And what's the Tumbleweed MC? Tell us about that.
So the Tumbleweeds is a local club that is all antique motorcycles. And myself and Cindy Messner, we are the only girls to have ever got inducted into this club. And it's, they ride like every Sunday, every other Sunday, sometimes not.
Wow,
Sunday.
so it's for real.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's which the guys are probably going to cringe at me because I might be wrong with this, but I believe it's been around since the 1930s. So it's a very old club and it's nationwide. But there isn't many chapters left. In which the New England chapter, which is our group, I would say it's probably about 30 of us.
Wow.
Awesome. Very
Keep
cool.
it going. I love that. Keep it going. Oh, I know that picture.
And look at that. Look at those two.
We were
I'm there
talking about-
too. I'm
we
there
were
too.
talk-
I'm just behind the camera.
I wonder we were talking about the day that it was so windy that pizzas came flying out of the parking lot all over the people's bikes. Remember that,
Yeah,
Jody?
it must be kind of chilly too. 'Cause
Yeah,
we're
I think
both
that was the
kind
day
of-
the onions. Maybe there were the onions along the road. I don't know.
Yeah, when you could smell them.
Yeah.
That's
onion
one of the good things
skins.
about riding a motorcycle, all the smells.
Oh yeah, we
Wow.
definitely smelled those onions. I want to look at little girl Jody. Okay, so I'm in love with this picture. It's so cute. Oh my gosh.
You
What
just
a
love
great
the grunt
photograph.
in the background.
Okay, Jody, you got to tell me what year you were born because I want to know how old you are when I visited in 86 or 87.
82.
So you really were only like 4 years old when I was there. Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, little
Incredible.
Jody. Well,
So I
That's
would say
awesome.
that picture that you just posted, I'm maybe like 2 or 3.
I think so.
That's
Maybe-
great.
Yeah, yeah.
And this next shot with Jesse.
That's your brother Jesse.
Look at that little tummy on you there, Jody.
I know, I love that. My pot belly. know,
Wow.
it's
It looks like you just ate a watermelon.
Yeah,
Little
Rob
one.
noticed the car in the last picture. He says a pacer. Was that a pacer or a gremlin?
I think it was a gremlin, which I wish my brother
Might have
was
been
here.
a
He
pacer.
totally
Yeah, I
correct
don't
me.
know. Pacers were
But-
gross too. Big.
I know my
Yeah.
grandmother did have a gremlin.
It could be in the gremlin. Yeah.
Is your brother watching tonight? Is he seeing these photos we're putting up?
I don't know. Has he commented? I can't see any. He probably wouldn't comment anyways.
He's kind of
But-
quiet.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
amazing. That brings up like, let's see if we show the next shot with Jaron. You and
Yeah.
Jaron.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Oh, we got
wanted to
Gremlin. No,
just
he's
wanted to
gotta
give you a
cut into the
reference.
gremlins.
I wanted
So
to give
what's
you a
the-
reference.
Is it a gremlin?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I
That
know
was
my
right,
grandmother.
gremlin. There you go. Cool.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Cool.
there's your sister.
And then this next shot on the three-wheeler with Jaron.
Yeah.
And
So how old were you when you really started riding by yourself? Like even on the freeway?
I was probably maybe 4 or 5. I
Wow.
honestly, I don't even remember because I was so little. You know, it's having my brother is older. Whatever he did, I wanted to do. And fortunately, he was always willing to teach me. And my dad was the same way. If Jesse was doing it, I was doing it. So if he learned at 5, I learned at 3.
Wow.
But it was
Yeah.
honestly like I was so young. I know my first dirt bike that I rode like a full size, it was actually a 90. I couldn't touch the ground when it was my brother's and he said, "Hey, you want to ride my dirt bike?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And he held it up for me. I jumped on and took off. And when I came back, I knew I couldn't touch the ground. So I pulled up next to like the log pile and was able to put my foot down so I could get off the bike. But I mean, I was probably 6, 7, maybe.
wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's
You sure
cool.
grew up in it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you
I
did.
mean, that's your whole life. You're born
Yeah.
into it. You're born on a motorcycle, just about.
Literally. Yeah. And so that was my brother and I's 4-wheeler that we used to ride everywhere. And he'd let me ride it, you know, and he'd get on the back. We rode that everywhere. And our dog, which is in that background, Cheyenne, she would follow us everywhere.
Cute.
So cool. I like the next shot here with the
Oh my
three of you
God.
on with your dad. So cool.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is
we
a good
determined the
one.
other day that's an FXR you're on.
Yeah.
It's right.
That's a cool
Classic Perewitz there.
I don't think I've ever seen Dave without a mustache. How about it? Is there a
That's
picture
great.
of Dave without a mustache somewhere?
So before we
There
leave
it
the little
is.
girl pictures, we got to ask, how is it that Jesse ended up opening a small engine repair shop and you ended up doing land speed racing?
And working with your dad.
Your older brother
I-
just goes to little engines and you went to the beast.
Yeah, you know, I think he you know, he rides. He's the one that really taught me how to ride. But I just
Your brother did?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was definitely my brother. I mean, obviously my dad had a hand in it as well, but my dad was always working. So it was, you know, after school on the weekends, it was my brother and I and you know, a couple of the neighborhood kids. But whatever we did, it always involved 4-wheelers or dirt bikes. That's just what we, or snowmobiles, you know, it was what we did.
Right.
Wow.
Nice.
Do you still do the snowmobiling now that you have all that snow outside?
No, it's funny because I went up north, right around Christmas, after Christmas, and to go snowmobile, and they didn't have enough snow, so we didn't end up going. So I'm hoping to go, not this weekend, next weekend, up to my dad's best friend Dave Sylvia's place to go snowmobiling again, and ride some Polaris snowmobiles. So that should be fun. But we just had a little snowmobile that my brother and I we'd make a track around my dad's garage in the yard and stuff, and we would just do a million circles every day after work. I mean, after school.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
great. So were you working in the shop also at an early age? Were you helping there with the brushes and paints and molding and whatnot as a kid?
So when we were little, so my papa, my mother's father, worked in the shop with my dad as a body man, and my brother and I, and even my sister too, we would go in the shop, and especially in the winter when we couldn't be outside as much, he would give us wooden shingles and a piece of sandpaper, and he'd tell us that we'd have to sand the shingles till they were like smooth as a baby's butt. That's
No way.
there. We would literally sit there and sand shingles.
Wow.
That's how you learn. I gotta remember that. That's too good. Go sand some shingles, kids.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, let's get on to the Land Speed, this first shot in the purple bike. Tell us about the bike and how it felt to just start out from scratch and having never done it before. What was that all like?
Yeah, where'd you get the idea that you're going to do Land Speed? You know, go to
So
Bonneville.
I had given my dad a trip to Bonneville for Christmas, because it was one of the few places that he had never been. Being everywhere, he went everywhere, all over the world, to all motorcycle things, and he had never been to the Bonneville Salt Flats. So, you know, what do you get a guy that already has everything? So anyway, it turned into, well, Jode, if we're going to go to Bonneville, we can't go and not race. And I said, okay, not even thinking that at all. We don't have any racing history. We aren't racers. There's nobody in the family that's a racer. It's not what we do. So we ended up getting a really good group of people and companies to support us and get behind us. And we were able to build a race bike, and we took it. So that was in 2011. And we took it, the first time that we took it out was up in Maine at Loring Air Force Base. And that was the first actual event. And that was the first time that I actually got on the bike. I had never ridden anything like this prior to this. I had never even ridden anything with a supercharger on it. Never mind this purposely built motorcycle that our plan was to go 200 miles an hour on.
But you must have liked to go fast though, right?
Yeah. I mean, to a point.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
how fast had you gone before going up to Maine for that practice run? And the first time you sat on that bike, what was the fastest you'd ever gone before getting on that bike?
Maybe 100, 110.
So just on the street, breaking the law.
Oh yeah, of course.
It wasn't like a, you know, like, but prior to that, I was like, oh, let's see how fast this bike can go. I never was like that. I'm still not like that. You know, yeah, I'll push probably motorcycles a little bit more than I did before, but I couldn't say like, oh, I went 112. You know, there was never an exact number. But I know that like when we went to Loring that first time, the bike didn't have a body on it. It was considered naked. So there was no fairing. And our goal was just to go up there and for me to ride the bike and get a feel for it and for us to tune it. Because you can put it on a dyno, but it's still not going to do the same things that it would do out on the racetrack. You know, the elements is so different, the elevation, wind, everything changes, you know, whereas a dyno is kind of a set circumstances. So we went up there just to test it, just for me to get on it and feel for it and practice, literally, because that's the only time you can practice is actually at an event. And we ended up coming home with 2 land speed records, and my top speed at that point on that bike was 164. And we walked, it was like an 8-hour drive home, and myself, my dad, and Ronnie, my crew chief, the 3 of us talked the whole entire way home how excited we were that we set land speed records, that, you know, like how many people have gone 164 miles an hour. Like, we were just ecstatic. We were so, and the bike ran so well that as soon as we got home, we started to mount the body to prepare for Bonneville, which was the end of August.
So the seed was planted. Yep,
Yeah.
You got the bug. That's what, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we went out to Bonneville that first year, and I know there was a lot of people that doubted us. I literally had people tell me that, like, yeah, okay, you're gonna go 200. They would literally laugh at me because we were rookies. We didn't, you know, we're not in this world. We're not in a race bubble. We don't build race bikes. Horsepower isn't our thing. I'm not a racer. So, you know, we had all odds against us. But we were able to go out there, and on the last day, I made a pass at 203 miles an hour. And on the coming back from, I had to ride. I was people that rode my bike to the starting line and then rode it from the finish back to the pits. Everybody else trailered their bikes because it's a big area. Altogether, I was probably going 18, 19 miles altogether on one pass. So it takes, you know, wear and tear on the bike as well. But anyway, on my return, like, I didn't know how fast I was going because I had already broken my tack. And that was all I had, was a tack. I didn't have a speedometer or anything. And I had already broken it. But I knew that I was dancing around 200. But I didn't know if I was 199 or 201. Like, 199 is not 200. You can go 199.9, but that is not true. You cannot say you went 200.
So how's it feel to go 200? How's it feel? Does it feel like it's going to be adrenaline? Has to be crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a hold on with everything you got, and you know, still be able to stay tucked and twist the throttle. And I remember Jay Allen told me before this, you know, when you're going that fast, if you even think about lifting your pinky and you slightly lift it, it'll be your pinky, your fingers, your hand, your arm, and then you will get ripped off.
I've heard that. Yeah, I always think about that. I've heard Jay say that in some interview or something. I always thought you have to just don't lift your pinky. Yeah. Really.
Don't even think about it. It's like.
Hey guys, if I can bust in for 1 second, one of the things that really makes us amazing, and you know, not to put my thoughts in everyone else's head, but one of the things when Jody comes out to the Salt, because I've been going to the Salt forever, watching Jay and all these guys, what's amazing about what she did is there are guys who have spent their entire life trying to get that 200-mile-an-hour hat. Wow. You know, I mean, literally, and guys that, like Wink Eller, still does not have that hat. You know,
it's crazy.
So it's amazing because everything has to be perfect. Everything has to come together to have that perfect run, to do that, and then to back it up also. So that goes, you know, more towards the accolade column for that achievement.
Thank you, Chris. I was going to say that is there's guys that have been out there for 20 years that haven't hit that 200 mark. And part of it, of why Bonneville is so difficult, is you have to make 2 passes in opposite directions. So that first year we went out there in 2011, I made a pass going 203 miles an hour. And it's still, I have chills literally telling this story every single time. But unfortunately, we were rookies and didn't really know the ropes. And I went directly to impound. And the winds and elements changed so dramatically out there that we thought, all right, we better get right back out there and do our return run to get a record. And we went and I went to do the return run, and I ended up breaking a valve and wasn't able to back out.
Oh,
So it was
man.
bittersweet because I still hit that 200 mark. But unfortunately, I didn't get a record over 200. I did set some records, but they were not 200. So you don't get that red hat. You have to set a record too to get the hat, to actually be in the 200 club. It's not just if you make 2 passes at 200.
We have a question from Rob Nussbaum, who says hi, by the way. Talk about Dave Perewitz's response to you setting the record.
Very good.
Yeah, what was that like?
He was in tears.
I'll bet. I would be.
If you guys Google, there's a video, a documentary. It's called Shoot the Salt. It's so good. It's such a good documentary about that first year that we went, and they were able to film my dad and Dave Sylvia in the car coming back, because they were all at the starting line and they could hear it on the radio. So I wasn't able to see any of their responses. I only saw it after the fact of, me getting all the way back. So probably 10 minutes later at least.
Right. I saw that. That's an amazing documentary. Have you seen it, Mike? It's so good.
I have not seen it. Well, I'll tell you, I know your dad was proud. Your dad's always proud of you.
True.
That's something else. And I hope, I presume Rob Lations has figured out by now that DP is, of course, Dave Perewitz. He posted a question. Who's DP?
Dad Dave.
Dad, there you go.
Rob should know that. Rob comes down our shop all the time, DP.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we ended up going back the next year, and I ended up backing it up and was able to set a record at over 200, and have set several land speed records since then. So Bonneville is definitely a huge chapter in my life. It was one of the coolest things that I've ever done. I'd love to get back there, and I hope that I do someday. It's just such a cool, humbling place, because like I said, that first year we were able to hit that 200 mark, but it wasn't enough that we were able to set a record, but it just made us come back for more. And I can't tell you the excitement in the pits when I was coming back on pit road from that run. Like I said, I didn't know how close I was to 200, but then as I got closer and closer to the pits, every single person in that pit was standing and jumping up and down for me, that I knew I was like, I had to have hit 200, because they all knew that was my goal. That was what I wanted to do. And it was on the last day, an hour before.
Do you plan to go back to Bonneville, or do you feel you've done it?
No, I would love to go back. I would love to do it again. I would love to go faster. And I think I will. I just, when the time is right, we just have so much going on right now, and it's such an expensive adventure that you don't get anything for. You get a piece of paper and you're able to say you have a land speed record. You don't win any money. You don't win a trophy, nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think I know the name of your next documentary. It's going to be FASTA. FASTA. FASTA.
Hey, let's take a break, and then when we come back, we want to talk about Sons of Speed, Cannonball, Chase.
We got a whole bunch.
We got a lot of stuff in your motorcycle bubble, girlfriend. Okay, we'll come right back, you guys.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm with Banks Brothers Motorcycles. One of the things I want to show you today is our new improved engine puller.
The changes to this machine has been in the arms and in the hands. We put hind joints in the hand to allow rotation of the engine, which makes it easier to get it in and out of the frame. With the angle change, we have equal clamping pressure on them. And over here we have what's called the posi lock, which allows this to be locked in place and the engine can't swing from side to side.
And we're going to show you just how easy it is to pull the motor out of the bike right now. George is actually going to come in, make contact with the cylinders, tighten it down, and he'll pull it out of there.
You lift it up, rotate it, and bring the assembly out of the frame. You see the motor starting to move, and it centers itself. This allows no side play once the motor's in place, and it keeps it safe. It can't fall out.
Visit BanksBrothersMotorcycles.com to order your Banks lift.
best sponsors. How about it? I love those commercials.
That Metzler commercial is great, huh?
I know.
And thanks to Metzler for their sponsorship, and also Tom Banks. It's quite a lift he makes for anybody that's putting an engine in or out of a bike. That sure does look like it'd make that task easier, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like and share our show and tell your friends and keep supporting us, because it's been really wonderful. This is our 26th show. And it's
Yeah, actually, we're out on a whole bunch of channels now. Chopper Town, Facebook and YouTube, through Cyclesaurus's Twitter, Broken Spoke Facebook, Dennis Kirk Facebook. I think there's almost 20 different channels that we're on now. So it's pretty accessible, which is great. And we get great comments. There's so many people chiming in tonight. It's just a testament to Jody's fans. Let's get Jody back on, though. And I want to tell her some of these comments here as well.
So much to ask.
Hey, Jody.
Yeah,
tell me I think you have a number of fans. You're gonna have to go back and watch the show just to read some of the comments. But and Lena Fairless obviously is a good friend. She says, "You look beautiful, Jody." And yeah, she made a few comments tonight, but one was she asked about, if I could find it, why do they call you the Boston Bullet? And I'm guessing there's a little story in there. And do you have a sidekick? And this is from Lena.
I think she
does. The Boston Bullet. My friend Frank from New York City, he's made me some shirts, and he said that I should be the Boston Bullet. And so he made me some cool shirts that say Boston Bullet on it. And Lena, my best friend, we call her the Dallas Snail.
Oh, that's great.
I do circles around her.
I actually, Lena also changed. She said, "That's my best friend, everybody. She's the most amazing, strongest gal on the planet." And she also says, "You should have been from Texas."
So
not
nice.
everybody.
There you go. Anyway, she's rooting for you. But boy, there's a lot of comments and some great stuff. You'll have to go back and see. Cool. Well, we wanted to move on to I think the Cannonball next, right?
Well, I think we got the Perewitz Bike Show, and I know that that's something that I always enjoy seeing at Sturgis and Daytona.
And we have one coming up in Daytona in just a few weeks, right?
March 10th, I believe.
Yes, at the Broken Spoke on Wednesday, March 10th of Daytona. We're anticipating a really good crowd, because I'm already getting a ton of response, whether it's emails, messages, stuff on social media. People are excited to go to Daytona, as well as come to our paint show at the Broken Spoke on March 10th.
Right.
You always have a great turnout. And I think since you moved over to the Broken Spoke, it's just Melissa Penland and Bob Pomeranke's place there. That's beautiful. What they did with the bricks now, it makes it so much more comfortable for a bike show. The last time I went and photographed you there was really something. It was so pleasant under the trees, the canopy of trees, and it's a real warm place, isn't it?
Yeah, and she is expanding the bricks even further. So we'll have an even bigger area of those pavers, so nobody's in the dirt. That's
great. Out towards the front, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, because our show grows.
Well, clearly I'm sorry, back to the pictures. Yeah, that last shot was from Sturgis in 2015. Clearly we've seen you at a few of them, because the next shot's in 2017. And I know that you're always looking like you're working hard there, judging the bikes, but you seem to have such a good time and such a big smile whenever you're doing this. I love it when you're on the microphone as well, like in the next shot from the Lone Star Rally in Galveston. We out of order, I think. There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
And what a great trophy. Can you tell us about that also?
Yeah, so that's something that's really cool about our paint shows. So we welcome all motorcycles, whether it's American, foreign, old, new, a bagger, a bobber, anything. As long as it has a custom paint job, you can enter our show. And what we give away is all our first place trophies are custom painted. So we do different things from Paco gives us half a tanks, so tank halves, or oil tanks that we paint and make trophies, or something like a bowling pin. We've done bowling pins.
I saw that over at the old school show at Willie's. You did bowling pins. They were really cool.
Yeah, so that's what's cool is our show, we give away some really cool trophies, and then second and third gets a canvas, and we give away a ton of swag. We have some really good sponsors. SATA Spray Equipment, Russ Brown, Hard Drive, NAMS, Brock's. They all give away such cool swag that I'm kind of like, ooh, this is good stuff. Wish I could enter. So we try to give away as much as possible and you know, make our show unique and people that keep coming back to it.
Well, and this is a fun thing. This is one thing here is it's not really showing what's happening because Jody is an MC at the annual bikini contest at the NASWA, which I always try to hit, especially if the weather's nice. And the other thing you're not seeing is right there, she's talking on the microphone. The crowd is mostly there on the shore by the tents and the boats all surrounding. But what Jody's facing is this a beautiful boat that in the back of it is her entourage of wild, crazy judges. That includes her dad and a bunch of other hamsters. And they get pretty crazy, don't they, Jody?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, God, these poor girls.
Oh.
How about you? How do you keep them in control? They get you blushing once in a while too, don't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm like, oh, boy.
Oh, gosh.
You
Well, I want
never
to talk
know
about
what they're going to say.
I want
But
to
we
talk
have
about
fun.
Sons of
We have
Speed.
fun. Cynthia does a great job with the bikini contest and promoting it and getting the crowd there.
Absolutely, yeah. So on to the banks. This is a little different, going from the salt to a bank track, huh?
Sons of Speed. There it is. Yep.
Yeah, so I was very lucky. Rhett Broughton actually introduced me to Curtis Venable, and how he introduced me was Rhett said, "Hey, come check out my Sons of Speed bike." And I went and was instantly like, oh my God, this is so cool. I would love to do this. And I went and sat on his bike and I verbally said that, like, this is so cool. I would love to race, you know, in Sons of Speed and circle track. And Curtis said, well, I'll build you a bike. And I kind of thought, okay, yeah, sure. Like, you know, people tell me things and don't necessarily come through. And it was such I just met this guy, like, spur of the moment. Okay. Next thing you know, he built a bike for me to ride. And I actually have ridden 3 different bikes for him in Sons of Speed race. I raced a 1919 Harley J, a 1920 Indian, and a 1951 Harley WR. So Curtis is very good to me. I am very lucky for my opportunity with Curtis to race these bikes. And that bike right there is my Indian, and that is what I won. I won Sons of Speed in the fall of 2018 on that bike. And I mean, I won by the width of the tire. I barely won, and I was just ecstatic.
I was there, and I think I called your dad because he wasn't there, and we both cried.
I bet. And I was just literally just told somebody this, that I was crying too when I won, and it was bittersweet because I was crying because my dad wasn't there, and I was crying because I won.
I remember. I was like, I got on the phone and called him right away. Yeah, I remember that. But for those who don't know, we didn't tell him what Sons of Speed is. It's a board track racing that Billy Lane and a few other people brought back.
Actually, Billy Lane he did it.
Yeah,
Billy Lane's the one that brought it back, and it's on a bank track.
Yeah,
and they have it in Daytona and Sturgis, and hopefully they'll get it to some other place. They aren't having it this March. It is postponed. But I'm curious, being on that asphalt bank track, Jody, and that first shot, like in the group or just anything, you're in the pack when you take off. What does that feel like? I mean, in Bonneville, you're going a lot faster on a newer bike, but you're by yourself. It's you and the elements. But here, you're with a group of people, and you got to kind of anticipate what's happening around you. So what's that like?
Yeah, so it's totally different. And before I raced at the first race in March for Sons of Speed, Curtis rented a track right near his house for me to get on the bike and practice because, like you said, these bikes have no gears and no brakes. So they're push to start. Once you start, you go. That's it. You don't stop. And there's no brakes. You literally do not have any brakes. So when I practiced, it took me a minute to, you got to realize that when you're going into that corner, you can't slow down. You only have the engine to slow down. And because they're such low horsepower, getting back up to speed is difficult. They don't have any torque, so you can't go into the corner letting off and then expect to get right back up to speed on the straightaway. So it's all about the corners and handling the corners. And I've learned a lot from Curtis. He used to have a stock car team, and he has a lot of racing history on what to do in the corners, and also from eBay Jake. eBay Jake is a mentor for me in the Sons of Speed too. So it wasn't until that first race that I actually raced with people, and having no brakes that you can't anticipate. If something happens, you can grab the brakes is a whole new train of thought. It's a whole
right. Well, no brakes and no gears, so you can't downshift either to slow yourself down using your motor. You have put your feet down or whatever.
Right. So it's a whole different feel, and we're still moving. I mean, we're still going 70 plus miles an hour on these 100-year-old motorcycles with no brakes, no gears, and no suspension. You're on it like
wow. And we've seen a few wrecks on that track too. So it's not like there's a lot at stake there.
And what
you see people hitting the sides too. That's amazing when they hit the wall. Oh my goodness. Some of those people they hit the wall and keep running.
Yep. Wow. And I like that there's actually a couple other women who ride too, like Brittany Olsen and Roxy and Shelly Rossmeyer. So it's so awesome to see. In fact, the first Sons of Speed, I think Brittany won. So
her and
so pretty cool. You're amazing.
And Rob Lations chimed in. Don't forget Erin Lane, because Erin does work really hard behind the scenes in every one of those races. She rarely gets to see a bike on the track, but she's working super hard there.
We got to talk about Cannonball. So you heard about the Cannonball, and then what happened?
So you have always been an advocate for the Cannonball with me. You always telling me about it and that I should do it. And it's been on my bucket list. And I just, kind of figured I'll do it. When the time comes, I'll do it. And actually, so Curtis, I told Curtis about it. And Curtis was like, well, I'll get a bike for you to ride. And I said, okay, sure. It was once again like a
oh my good. He's truly like a Renaissance benefactor or something.
Yeah. Curtis Venable is very good to me.
He's an amazing man, I must say. He's a really cool guy. I got to hang out with him a little bit on the chase when he did the chase with us.
Yeah. So we built. My friend Bob Gamache, who he helps me out with all my old bikes. He's extremely knowledgeable with them. We built the Cannonball bike. Rob did the motor for it. And we set out to do the Cannonball. And in the Cannonball, we were talking about bubbles earlier. I didn't really, you, Chris, and Dave Minerva were really like the only ones that I knew on the Cannonball. It's a different bubble. Yeah, I grew up in this industry, but we're not in the antique bubble. By the end, I had so many new friends, and I was like, you guys are so cool. You're so much better than the custom world sometimes. And it was, I rode with so many different people, and I made so many good friendships. I believe that's me and Doug Feinsod and Todd behind us. The three of us stuck together almost the whole second half, from Sturgis all the way to Oregon. But it was honestly a great experience. I would do it again in a second, that exact ride. It was so good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We hung out a little bit too. And I think you were with Pat when he got pulled over by the cop.
Yeah. I think I was down the hill.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you did Cannonball, and then in 2019 we heard about the chase, and I know you didn't hesitate, because I didn't. And tell us about that.
Yeah, and I think you and I were kind of talking about the Mecum auction in January. And I was kind of like, I'm not really. Like, I like going with people. I like having, people around me. Like, I didn't want to do it by myself. And then you were kind of like, well, I'm going to do it. And then I said, well, okay. And somebody said, well, why aren't you going to do it? And I said, I don't know. I guess I don't have a legit reason of why I wouldn't do it. So that turned into doing it. And that trip was awesome. That trip was, it was, we saw so many different places and roads, and it was just beautiful. And I'm so glad once again that I was able to do that stuff. And with everything going on in the world right now, especially in the last year, I have really thought to myself, like, I have accomplished a lot, and I have gone a lot of places all over the world, all because of motorcycles. And if the world shuts down, I'm so lucky to be able to say that I've been there and I've done that. And it just shows that if you get an opportunity to do something, do it, because you never know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, and I kind of relive those memories too, because like you said, we haven't been able to do that stuff this year. So I was looking at that picture thinking, oh yeah, that was so fun. You know, just
it was so, I mean, you know, Chris, you've done all the cannonballs. So, I mean, think about all the places that you saw on those trips. And, you know, if we can't.
It's a lot of memories. It's just, that's the thing, you know, Gloria told me years ago, you're making memories. You're out there and, you know, I could stay home and think about doing it, but, you know, I'm going to do it now. I'll think about it later, you know? So,
exactly. We'll figure it out later.
You've sure packed a lot in, and that's Jody right there.
Oh yeah.
Just king of the hill, man. Just having such a great time. That's awesome.
And the chase was so different. I mean, you know, Michael, you've been in all the cannonballs too. And the chase was just a different vibe. I mean, we didn't have the big crews and the big rigs and the mechanics along. It was just us and our stuff we could fit on our bike. And that's what really drew me to the chase, was that it was just so different. You know, definitely
Awesome stuff.
So I know you have plans for it was supposed to be the 2020 Cannonball, but now it's turning into the 2021 Cannonball. And you're going to challenge yourself even more than you have already, because tell us what you're going to ride on that one.
Yeah, so for the 2021 Cannonball, I am going to be riding the 1912 Harley-Davidson single-cylinder, single-speed, belt-driven motorcycle that has all of about 3 or 4 horsepower. You know, what is it, 3,600 miles? So
let's bring up the photo there, number 30, to show the picture. It's the last shot.
I thought it was more miles than that. I thought this was a long one.
I was thinking 3,800. Is it 38 or 36?
I don't know. I think it's probably more than that. But there it is in the 12.
So there it is. So tell us more about it. I think it looks like it could be on the Sons of Speed track, personally.
Yeah, they kind of, but most of the Sons of Speed, I think there's only one. Tom Kiefer, I think, is riding a single. I think he's the only one on a single, but most of them are all twins on Sons of Speed. But that, so that bike is just a whole new obstacle, and it's a new obstacle in a sense of learning how to ride it. Chris, as you know how difficult these bikes are. You don't just get on it and go. And for the Cannonball, prior to that, I had only ridden a rocker clutch and a tank shift a couple of times at the most. So I had to get used to having no front brake, a foot rocker clutch, so you know it's heel toe, and then the tank shift. And that's a whole new learning curve in itself, because Bob and I rode so much that summer, just practicing and being in different circumstances. And I got in a situation where I was going uphill and there was a stop sign at a busy intersection. And I thought, oh shoot, I gotta have one foot on the clutch and one foot on the brake to hold me. How am I gonna either let go of the brake or let go of the clutch and shift and go? So I thankfully kind of saw this coming, and I managed to like kind of turn myself perpendicular so I could hold myself from rolling, and then, you know, kind of took off around when I could go.
Yeah.
But situations like that where, you know, you can't plan for it. It just, you have to let it happen and then figure it out.
That's why we had front brakes.
So we actually did end up adding a front brake, but in 1926 they didn't have a front brake. It wasn't until 28 that Holly's had front brakes.
Did you guys add a front brake to that 12 Harley? I think I saw a front brake on there.
Yeah, we will. It will have a front brake, but it's going to be so minimal that it'll probably be only for me to hold myself somewhere, not to actually physically depend on, because those front ends are so, say, fragile.
Yeah, I've got one on my bike from a Honda 90, and it's really more it's really just like hill holder. It's not really
Yeah,
a great.
yeah, exactly.
It's a little hill holder. But a lot of guys saying you're going to have to pedal. Walter,
Oh
you're
yeah.
right. I mean, it's a different kind of a ride because you've got to get the momentum, and when you have a hill coming, you better be going pretty strong because you got to have to make it up over the other side.
Yeah.
Well, there's
yeah.
one
So
advantage that Jody has
Mhm.
over our past. What was
Yeah.
our Hawaiian winner on a 1912?
Are you talking
Dean,
about
what was he on?
1914, I
Compared
believe.
14. Okay, well, yeah,
14.
you have about
13.
80 pounds less to haul up
Yeah.
that mountain, I think.
A lot of years
So
younger.
that is going to be a big advantage
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
And Dean is so fit and
Yeah.
it couldn't have been a better person to do it than him. I mean, if anybody could have done it, it's him. But you do have an advantage that way. But I don't know, do the listeners, do they understand the way the Cannonball works? So, I mean, you are going for gold here. And I don't know if our listeners understand that because you are a competitive person. We know that, right?
Yes, that's
So why don't you explain how that ties in? That why are you riding a 1912 instead of a 1920?
so
It's
that
not
was a
just
huge,
for fun, is it?
well, it's for fun to a point.
Of course, right.
But that was a huge thing. Like when when we were, my goal first for the Cannonball was just to finish, to do all the miles. And myself and two other girls we were the first three to finish all the miles on the Cannonball. But then it was like, you know what? I want to win. Like I want to get a trophy.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Why
And it
not?
wasn't just
Yeah.
like I wanted to do it. I already did it. So now I want to win. I want a chance at winning.
Says the girl that has the 200-mile-an-hour hat on the
Yeah.
Salt
Well,
Flats,
she wants
right?
to win on an old bike now, definitely. And I think, you know what? I was tempted to do it because I have a single Harley. I think ours is a change ride, but I'm 63. Okay. I don't think I'm going to do it. I hope you're working out. Someone said, I hope you're working out. I'm sure you're working out. I know you're working out.
Yeah.
Jody's always working out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Always getting strong.
But so the single, so how it goes in the Cannonball is there's three classes. There's a single speed, single engine, or single cylinder, single speed is class 1. Class 2 is multiple cylinders, single speed, and then class 3, multiple cylinders, multiple speeds. So in my on the 26th, I was in class 3. So yeah, I maybe had a chance at winning my class, but probably not because there's older bikes. So the older the bike, the more points you get, so to speak. And my bike 26 was too new. So the chances of me winning my class were pretty slim, but that's okay because that wasn't my goal for that trip. My goal was just to finish it, to do all the miles, to get my foot in the door and see how much I liked it. And now where I want to win, I want a chance at winning. A 1912 puts me right at the top. So there's only a couple of us, I believe there's probably 4 or 5 of us at the most that are riding singles. And the only one that is older than mine is a 1911. Dave Curria is riding a 1911 single.
Wow. What about Chris Tribby? Isn't his an 11 Excelsior? What's Chris Tribby's bike?
Maybe he says an 11.
And is he in again this year?
I believe he is.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, I think you're right. I think Chris is
I think it's an 11 Excelsior.
Which maybe he'll comment on here because I know he always watches the
I see Tom Banks is on. No, Tom, I'm not going to ride with you, but maybe.
There's other cannonballers or chasers on here too that all chiming in, like Dave Gilmore, chase number 22, chimed in, and we got Carrie Patchett, chase number 47, Kelly Maudlin from the Oz Museum in Kansas. He's saying hello. Mike Podger from Prince Edward Island. Bunch of people following you, and it's funny because you have followers from all different things. Like these are from the chase and from the Cannonball, and then you have people on from the speed events, and then there's even people chiming in. Somebody said that they never met you before, but they can't wait to meet you. They're going to go back to the Salt if you go to the Salt, and all these comments are great. That everybody's very enthusiastic about you.
Very
Very
cool. I
cool.
love the enthusiasm. It keeps me going.
Yeah, here I'm a new Jenny Lefferts. She was one of our guests. I'm a new Jody fan.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Really. So fun.
So-
I'm just so happy to see you. I miss you. You know, it's like I haven't seen you.
This is
It's
like this is the worst thing about all this pandemic and everything is I don't get to see everybody, and I'm a people person. I like people, and I love going to the events and seeing everybody more so than riding my motorcycle sometimes.
I know. To me, it's
You're
great.
definitely a people person. Yeah, can we bring up I don't know if we showed all the pictures. Could we go back and there's one number 18 where I think you were racing that day, and then the next thing I see you at Black Bike Week biking on the boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just I'm taking pictures. Number
everywhere.
number 18. I'm sorry, shot number 18.
Oh,
And
me
there
my
you are with
mom.
your mom, your biggest
Yeah.
supporter. I don't know if you could find it. It's number 18. She's out there with her thumbs up and just having a great time on a street bike, just back and forth, whatever you do. I love that your mom has been such a big supporter as well. She was
Susan-
there at the
Susan's
start of
awesome.
the Cannonball, and then at the finish of the chase. My goodness, that picture with her holding the sign is just
yeah.
so heartwarming. Some people have actually written about how they love that picture and love your mom in it. What she's
I love your
holding.
mom.
That's picture
Susan.
number 29, Chris
Yeah,
Callan.
there it
Yeah,
is.
that's the
Oh,
start
look at
picture.
her. Oh,
Right there's
Yep,
the start,
shows up
and
in
then
Maine.
at the finish is number 29.
Yeah, she's
So
holding
cool.
the sign up. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So cool.
Yeah, she definitely supports me in everything. But, that's a good thing about my parents and my brother, and even
Look
my
at her there. Yeah, look at your mom.
Yeah, that's an awesome picture. My cousins are right in the background.
Chasing Jody, number 79. Oh my goodness. Now that is pure love and joy in that photograph, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's my cousin Leah. She has a sign way over to the right, in the black dress. Her, my mother, and my other cousin Tara.
Nice.
They all
Actually, I had a
my
photograph I was going to put in, but we were starting to get too many, and it was the picture in the bar that night with you four ladies.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty wild photograph too. So.
That was cool. That was with my Aunt Bibi and Tara and Leah. Yeah, we had fun in Sloppy Joe's.
Aunt Bibi is Bob, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Of course.
There's Simsy.
Look at that. Making hearts with Jason. At Loves, right? How appropriate. Hearts at Loves.
Exactly. That's what we symbolizing.
Yep. I have to say it's been fun all these years running into you just in all sorts of places. Like here you are at the Broken Spoke. You're just enjoying yourself so much. You're the MC. You're doing live Facebook with your phone, and you're laughing your head off, having so much fun as they're blasting their stereos for the sound contest.
Yeah, literally, that was the sound off. And Jay and I were kind of going back and forth on the mic. And as I'm holding my phone up, doing a Facebook Live.
Multitasking, Jody. I know, totally.
I
didn't see Nancy Weems' question. Someone said Nancy Weems had a great question. I didn't see her question in there.
Oh,
my
hi,
God,
Nancy. She watches our show, Chopper History, on Mondays and Thursdays.
Nancy's awesome. She watches all our shows. I know she's a big fan of yours too.
Nancy's question was, what is your favorite race?
Oh yeah, thanks, Chris.
Good question. Nice.
I don't know. Like, I guess I would say Bonneville, if you could say that was a race. But Sons of Speed is very cool. They're just the thrill of it, and the old bikes is just so cool. But Bonneville is just like no place on earth. It's humbling, and it's like you're on the moon.
Yeah.
Drew Woodford thinks you may have a challenger on the next time you're out on the Salt. He's commenting here, hey, Jody, we're going to get Michael Lichter onto the Salt.
Hey, why not?
That would be awesome. All right, I'll come back out if
go.
you go out, Mike.
There's a lot of people chiming in here that they want you out on the Salt. You got big fans.
I know, I got it. So my recent land speed bike, the blue one, just went to the Motorcycle Hall of Fame in Sturgis. So now, it's been in our showroom. And so all the local people have seen it, at our bike nights, or whether they're coming by the shop. But it's such a cool machine. It's such a cool bike that I thought, you know what, I'd love for more people to see it. So we put it in the museum, and actually it just got there a couple weeks ago. So now anybody that wants to go see my land speed bike can go by the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and check it out. And it still has salt on it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. I can't wait to see it.
Other people, oh my goodness, we have somebody from South Africa chiming in. There was somebody from Australia online. They're coming in from all over. I'm telling you, you got to check this out. Also, we got some great people that are industry people that we know, like well, I mentioned Steve Broyles, great bike builder out of Michigan, who's a wonderful bike builder, and he's made a number of comments tonight, which is great.
Yeah,
so, yeah, you got to check all this out. It's really cool.
And Steve says, it's, the camaraderie at Sons. The camaraderie is probably at everything. I mean, you talked about Bonneville, everybody roots for everybody and excited for you. And I think the Cannonball, we know the Cannonball is like that, and the Chase is totally like that. So,
and the Chase too, the Chase, I know there was, because we were all on our own. We didn't have any crews following us whatsoever. So you had to carry whatever you needed. And there was multiple times where I lent out the tools that I had and also borrowed tools that I didn't have. And that's the cool thing, is everybody's willing to, even though you're in competition with each other, it seems like the whole motorcycle industry is very much like that. It's, there's a huge rigs with lots of money and sponsors. It's pickup trucks and trailers, that's what's cool about it.
I think you loaned me a quart of oil on the Chase. I think I'll you a quart of oil.
Probably.
Let's just say we help each other, but I just want to thank you for coming on our show. I got
nominated to go to, I Ubered to O'Reilly's and got a case of oil so we could all share it.
That's right. Well, thank you for thinking of all of us. Definitely. Well, you know what? I don't want to say goodbye to you, but I know we have to, but I really want to tell you thank you. And I'm so proud of you for all the things you've been accomplishing. And I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm such a big fan.
Anyway. And a big hug to your whole family, all of them.
Thank you guys very much. And thank you, Chris, for being such a mentor to me with old bikes and a role model, and Mike for always capturing the best moments.
You're an easy, you make it easy, Jody. You make it so easy for me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Right night and say hi to your dad. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Jody. Bye-bye.
Oh,
very cool.
I know, I'm in awe of her. I wish I was 20 years younger. I'd be hanging out with her more.
Well, she's such a great spirit, right?
No, totally.
Just a wonderful spirit in motorcycling and life in general, just to have that upbeat approach to life.
So passionate about everything she does.
Yeah.
And that's life. You got to live your life and go for it. She's fearless, though. Fearless girl. Amazing. Yeah. Anyway, well, thanks everybody for tuning in. I see all fun there. Hey,
our sponsors, and of course Cycle Source, for the great engineering, Chris Callan there. Also, we got to remind people to tune into the Cannonball tomorrow night. Watch Rob and Jason do their thing. I'm not sure who their guest is tomorrow, but they always have some fun stuff, and it's really getting us ready for the Cannonball.
I can't wait.
But you better sign up for.
Oh, what do you mean? I'm not signed up.
You better show up.
Oh, okay. I'll show up. I'll be there.
Show up.
I'll be there. All right, you guys. Have a great night, everybody.
Right.
Stay safe.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all you watching. Take care.
We'll see you next week. Good night.